International Roundups. I'm Dennis Aseto, KTN, in partnership with Viori. We begin from the greatest country on the face of the earth, Kenya. Many would call it 254. Now, in Kenya, many women are getting into artistry and craft, and through that, there is pottery, there is clay wax, and there is bead making, which is offering opportunities to women to be able to have economic opportunities and to do better. Take a look.
The main aim of starting Kazuri was to uplift the living standard of the less fortunate. We started 3, and before COVID, we were 340. And now the number have gone down to 56. Because of COVID, we closed down for 2 years. When we reopened, we started with 15 ladies, and we selected the well-equipped in skills, and now you can see we are growing once again. Most of African men, they abandoned their responsibilities. So the whole responsibilities have been left on women's shoulders. So at least Kasuri have really helped them, at least to change their living or to be able to take care of their families.
We source our soil from Mount Kenya, and we currently produce it and make it into a moldable clay outside of the factory. This is mainly to just help with the exposure into the toxins and everything. Then we bring it in-house, and we have production of 24,000 beads per week, and that helps us generate into what we make for the necklaces. So per month, we make about 1,000 to 2,000 necklaces, 5,000 bracelets, and 6,000 to 10,000 earrings.
This job has been my lifesaver because out there finding a job, it's not easy. And also it has helped me to cater for my children. Raising them as a single mother is not an easy job because most of the women here are single mothers. So the job here helps us to provide for our children and also for the rest of the family.
Now let's go to western part of the continent, to be specific, in Lagos, Nigeria. Yes, Lagos is not the capital of Nigeria, Abuja is, but let's stay in Lagos for a moment. Now, ballet dancing is a foreign dance that many do not associate it with Africans in this continent pretty much. But in Nigeria, ballet has turned out to be a way where young people, the babies, the children of the country are being encouraged to look beyond classrooms, to get into studios and perform ballet as a way of economic opportunities beyond the ordinary opportunities that have been there.
Dance is universal. And then there is something you can do about dance. People might not understand different languages, but they can understand the language of dance. And then we use dance to portray or to carry our stories. So I don't believe that dance and ballet is very Western. I believe that it is what you can own it to be. And that's why we have what we call the Afro ballet, using African-inspired music to do the classical ballet, thereby retaining the originality of the ballet, but with an African flair.
1, 2, 3, 4, and out.
When I started out earlier, I was very timid and I didn't want to associate with anyone, but through dance, I've been able to express myself and be who I am through ballet. And ballet is a different style of dance. It's not something everyone does around my area, and it's something you would not expect. Like, who does ballet here? No one.
Mr. Daniel Washani Ajala, the Artistic Director of Lip Dance Academy, gave me private classes, and on the day of the private class, it was raining heavily, and it's normal for Lip Dance Academy to still dance in the rain or the sun or whatever situation we are in. So he said he was going to film the video and like the combinations I was doing and show me my corrections, which he did, and then after he showed us, and then we rehearsed, continued rehearsing, and later that night he posted it, and it went viral. Mostly in Europe, and it attracted people in Europe and outside Europe too. And that's how I got my scholarship in Belgium.
We are still in Nigeria, and just like Kenya, 2027 is a big year. Why? Because there will be elections. Now, presidential hopefuls in the election in Nigeria have signed a peace accord as they approach the election period next year. Many would hope that this would equally apply right here in the 254 in Kenya, because 2027 is equally an electioneering year.
For podium, when you're done with the signing, kindly wait in front of your door.
In ensuring that we live a more peaceful and humane society.
Today, signing of the first National Peace Accord therefore marks a critical milestone. We are exactly 5 months away from the 2027 general election. The world is watching, but more importantly, the Nigerian people, the youths, the farmers, the entrepreneurs, and the elderly, they are watching all of us. They are not just asking for much. They are simply asking for a process that is credible and a campaign that respects their intelligence.
The first part, and we're going to the second. The first for... The 2027 general elections must not be remembered for violence, hate, or division. They should be remembered as an important demonstration of Nigeria's democratic maturity and our collective ability to disagree politically without becoming enemies. Not a theater of war. And so let us compete decently. Thank you so much.
That's a reading of the peace accord to properly set the context of the content before
compliance failures occur. 7. To respect.
Switzerland remains committed to supporting Nigeria's efforts towards peaceful, inclusive, and credible democratic processes. We value our long-standing partnership with government and good people of Nigeria, the National Peace Committee, as well as our cooperation with the European Union and other partners.
Differences in opinion, inclusivity, and decency in...
We are in the southern part of the continent in Botswana, and the Tetona people are saying that they are working very hard, including the President Boko, saying that the country should improve its relationship with Moscow, that is Russia, that despite existing sanctions that do exist, that should not stop them from economic viability, even as Russia is coming for rare earth minerals in the country. They are saying, let's go. We are friends. Let's grow together.
I think it's a recognition of a fact that has always been staring us in the face, which is that of the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, Russia has been the only one in which we did not have a physical mission. And that has been something of an anomaly that required correction at some point in time. And that point happens to be now for us. That's the first. The second is we've had over the years, many of our professionals, young people receive training in Russia. And they have had to be serviced in terms of consular assistance from Sweden. And if you look at Russia, as I said, one of the P5 countries and as big an economy as it has, there had to be some correction of that absence.
We are still in southern part of the continent, and President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe has said that South African countries should not rely on external funding because that would take away the sovereignty of the people from this part of the continent, asking the leaders from the southern part of the continent to work hard to ensure that they can fund their own processes, they can fund their own initiatives to be able to grow together with the people.
The primary goal of this team is, among us, to ensure that we add value to our heritage-based resources and move away from exporting raw materials by building local processing, refining, and manufacturing capacities across Southern Africa. This will boost intra-SADC trade while harmonizing regulations in agro-processing and infrastructure development. By processing our minerals, we create jobs, foster innovation, and retain the value that rightfully belongs to our people.
We're still in South Africa, and this time we're talking about President Ramaphosa of South Africa. And he has said, or rather urged South Africa to turn its minerals into manufacturing and into factories, saying it does not make sense when they have so many minerals, but that does not benefit the country there is. This is the story.
This summit must therefore accelerate through the decisions that we will take. The implementation of the Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan of 2020 to 2030. First, we must deepen industrialization and build regional value chains. The minerals and agricultural commodities of our region must become the foundation of Southern African manufacturing. We must process more of what we mine and add value to more of what we grow and manufacture more of what we consume.
Now let's talk about Ebola that is being discussed in SADC, that is in the South African meeting that is happening. But while that is a meeting that so different countries come together to discuss about the economy and how they can better themselves, there is a concern that the war in DRC is making the spread of Ebola a reality and perhaps even worse. Further calling on ceasefire in DRC because failure to have peace threatens South African countries on Ebola spreading to them. This is the story.
Through the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization, we are strengthening disease surveillance, pandemic preparedness, and health security across our region. The importance of this cooperation is demonstrated by the devastating Ebola outbreak caused by the Ebola virus in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At the latest count, nearly 5,000 confirmed cases have been recorded and more than 2,300 lives have been lost. Behind every number is a human life, is a family.
Let's go to North America. President Donald Trump has said that his relationship, rather the United States relationship and Canada has improved. Why? Because they shook hands. And according to Trump, he is a deal maker. They are now in a deal. They are friends with the hope that the future is brighter for them.
Yeah, we had a very good conversation with the Prime Minister last night, and we've come to a deal with Canada. As you know, the 50% tariffs across the board were going on against Canada today. And they called yesterday and they gave us the points that we had to have. Very fair deal for both. The tariffs will be non-existent for our farmers. Our farmers were paying tremendous tariffs into Canada, and those tariffs are going to be totally eviscerated, down to zero.
Very well now. Even as we still talk about individuals shaking hands and getting into deals, President Donald Trump has said that his relationship with Kim Jong-un should be welcomed, saying that that is a good thing not only for America but for the world, further stating that they're planning to meet later in the year. Take a look.
The fact that I get along with him, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. He has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons. Should have never allowed it to happen. They should have never allowed it. If I were president, I wouldn't have allowed it. But he's got them. I get along with him very well. I can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And I know Kim Jong-un very well, and he's going to be fine. As long as we have a smart president, he's going to be fine. If we have a dumb president, then he's probably not going to be so fine.
Now, social media is a good thing. The world, as we speak today, cannot do without social media, but can it? Now, Zuckerberg, who is the president, or rather the owner and founder of Instagram and Facebook, found himself in the corridors of justice. This because parents came out to say that social media is leaving their children connected to a point that it is now a concern and a threat to their well-being. This is that story.
I'm here today because my daughter should still be alive. Anna Lee was 18 years old. She was a rural Colorado farm girl. She loved her family, her God, her horses, and every four-legged creature she could haul into our farm. But behind my daughter, we knew and loved, she was fighting a battle we could not see, a battle within the world of social media.
Emmy didn't want to die. She loved her family. She loved her pets. She loved her frogs, her geckos, and our time at the lake house. She loved her life. What she could not survive was the hopelessness and the helplessness that was created and amplified by the design choices that Meta put in front of her.
Now, when you talk about ice, everybody thinks about perhaps the lollipop or the popsicle, but nope. These ice you're talking about are the agents in the United States of America who, as we speak at the moment, are on the focus in breaking news across the world. This is because a third person has died in detention. He is a Guatemalan citizen, and as we speak, New Jersey residents have gone to the streets to demand that detention center be closed down.
Ask your neighbor, how are you feeling?
We obviously want Delaney Hall shut down. We want ICE abolished. We want trials. We want justice. We want revenge. We want this to end. But Mikey Sherrill is a centrist, spineless woman, and so we're asking her for just a little bit less.
We don't want to keep coming here every day and you have to see the same person and act like you don't.
I'm tired of having to keep coming up here because they kill somebody else. When is enough enough? When is they going to stop? Because the blood is definitely, I'll go a step further, it is on Mikey Sherrill's pants.
Yeah, it is.
Right. I call her a blue maggot.
Now, think about Wales in Europe and Texas in North America. The distance is quite huge. Now, bring in a turtle that has swum all the way from Wales to Texas and should actually go further to the Gulf of Mexico. But that journey to the Gulf of Mexico as it goes back home has been delayed. Know why? Because the turtle we talk about was rescued near death because of pneumonia. So yes, pneumonia does affect turtles, and that is new. Take a look. Now, there is a fire that broke out in central Spain, and that fire broke out in a waste facility, what many would want to call a rubbish news. But while that was a concern for the locals, authorities have said that breakout did not injure or hurt anyone and was not a public emergency. This is that story. In Odisha, there is a crisis. the crisis that is emanating from floods that have covered farmlands, bringing about problems to do with food security as well, and death toll that has gone up to 13, and 100 more, or rather hundreds, have been displaced due to these flood waters. This is a story of catastrophic climate change that continues to affect the world. Take a look. Well, from the greatest country that is Kenya, beadwork is providing opportunities for women. In Nigeria, 2027 is an electioneering year, and presidential hopefuls have come together to sign a peace accord promising that they will play by the rules. And there is that story that talks about Wales and Texas all the way to Mexico. And that story talks about this turtle that has traveled all the way from Wales to Texas, but fell ill and was affected by pneumonia. This on KTN in partnership with Maori. I'm Dennis Aseto.